everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood podcast. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Jeanette Anderson, and I am happy to be here today with Vered Ohanna. Right? Did I get that right? Because I wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was going from memory, and that's never a good thing to do. All right. So today we're going to be talking about how to make the leap from your vision to your very own business. So those of you who are thinking about getting into business or how to make your next leap in your business, this is the conversation for you. And tell everybody where you're calling in from, because it's quite a ways. It must be fairly late in the evening there.
I'm calling in from Wellington, New Zealand, and this is actually the morning. So I'm talking to you from the future.
That's right. Oh, I forgot. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about Vered, and then we will leap into our topic. Haha, see what I did there? We're going to leap. All right. So Vered is delighted to be here today, bringing with her a wealth of experience and a passion for guiding entrepreneurs towards success. With a background in engineering, an MBA, and master in NLP, that's a lot of letters. She has honed her skills in coaching, mentoring, and facilitation. Her journey has led her to specialize in supporting women to take the leap to their own business in a way that aligns their passion with purpose while fostering thriving businesses. Through her expertise in project management and process improvement, she empowers individuals to make the leap from vision to reality. She's dedicated to sharing insights and strategies to help other women realize their full potential and achieve their entrepreneurial goals. It's hard to read from the other side there. Anyways, welcome, Vered. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. Yes, go ahead.
It sounds like you've been working towards this objective for a long time. Like you've been doing lots of things in the world with your education and with mastering NLP and getting ready to be this perfect combination of skills and abilities for people. So congratulations, that takes a lot of work. So tell me first something about you that we wouldn't guess from reading your website or your bio or your introductions.
Well, something about me that people wouldn't guess. It's probably that I like to learn a lot of things. Well, you could maybe learn that from what I'm learning, but I like to learn in areas that I don't know anything about. So the last time that I took a course was improv, which is very, very different thing. So this would be something that no one would probably guess about me.
That's good. Improv is great, especially for business communications and sales. It can really help with that. So good for you. And it's pretty fun too.
Yes.
It requires people to be spontaneous, and that's kind of a good challenge for some entrepreneurs. So tell us a little bit more about your why. Why do you do this work? Why are you so passionate about supporting entrepreneurs and or people in making the leap into entrepreneurship?
Well, because for me, that was a dream of mine to be a coach. But because I was an engineer for so many years, it was a mindset that, well, to do that leap was a big thing because it had to impact my identity in a way. So I kept going back and learned more tools and more tools. I was withdrawn to that. And it took me 15 years. And I have to say that when I finally took that leap and, got to the place that I'm doing that, I really feel that I'm working from my purpose. And I want to help others do that faster, not wait for 15 years before they actually take that leap. 15 years is a long time. Yes, I'm not sorry for anything that I did. It took me to where I am and gathered the skills that I built to that. But being in that place of, really feeling that you're working from your purpose, it's amazing. It's nothing like anything else that you could have. And I want other people to have that too. So that's my why.
Okay. Well, you were taking quite a bit of left brain stuff, engineering and your MBA. So clearly you come from that kind of background somewhat. Why and how the leap into coaching? Because that's, many would say that's much more right brain, much more, or more right brain and more heart based and less logical, analytical. Some would say that anyways. Why the switch?
Well, for me, it's not really a switch. It's sort of an upgrade from that. So NLP is really looking into patterns of people. And as an engineer, I was looking into processes and how do you take the process and improve that process. Now, for me, NLP and coaching is actually taking a person rather than a machine that has much more complexities and everything is so much better.
Right?
But because of that, the patterns are so much more complex. And for me, it's more challenging, but it's very, very similar because what I do through the coaching is help people to upgrade themselves to a better version that they can be. So I
Awesome.
know that it seems like it's something that is very different, but to me, it's actually bringing the left side to the right
Okay.
and using that to help people.
Well, let's talk about your leap moment because it was 15 years in the coming. So,
Yes.
what stopped you for all that time? What was the thing that got in the way for you making a leap?
So a lot of limiting beliefs because, when you're an engineer, just like the question that you just asked me of, you are a person that automatically people assume that if you are an engineer, you are analytical and you cannot do anything else. So you're sort of putting yourself in the same box that other people see you and put you in that box, not because you really belong to that box. I really believe that we can be so many things. And for me, there was always this I was withdrawn to go to all these things. I did also other things like reflexology, which has nothing to do with engineering, and a lot of things that I did not actually use. And but this is something that like when you have a purpose, you just kept feeling that you're withdrawn to that area. So for me, I kept going and trying to take these things, and it excites me, but I was afraid. That's a big fear of, well, if I'm going to be a coach, what would people think about me? So I'm no longer an engineer, or am I no longer an analytical person if I'm working with people? So all these things, and what would people think? And my fear of, going out there and doing something like that is a big thing. So there was a moment that sometimes, you have to go for a long time until either you really want that badly or something bad happens. So for me, it was a project that I worked on, a massive project of $500 million back when I was living in Australia, in Darwin. And that was a terrible work environment. And I worked there for a year and a half and hated every moment. And one day, it was my birthday, I was 44. And this is the age that my father passed away. So when I woke up on that morning driving to work, it was raining over there. And as I got to the office, I was thinking to myself, what if this is my last day? 44, that could be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared me. And I said, I don't want to continue to stay in this place, not even one more day. I just left this job. I gave my resignation on the day. And it took me about quite some time to find the courage to actually do that and take the leap. So I did a little bit of a trip around the world through Peru and Israel and Thailand, and got to New Zealand from Australia. That was my move to New Zealand. And here I opened my company and basically started coaching.
Wow. Okay, so there was lots of things in there that I want to ask you about. So I love your comment about it wasn't a shift, it was more of an expansion. I think that's very true that when we stretch out into all of who we are all of those things. We are right and left brain. We are creative and logical, analytical. All of us have some components of those things. It's just a question of what's kind of our default but we can expand into more of who we are. So I love that
Absolutely.
that notion, and it's often when we move into an area of passion, we do have to expand. We have to expand out of our comfort zone into what we don't know, and conscious incompetence. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh my God, that was surprising. Sorry. So, um, one of the things that you mentioned that got in your way was what will people think of me? I think approval is
Yes.
a huge issue for most people, including intelligent professionals and people with lots of credentials and so forth. What was your biggest fear?
That people will look at me differently, that they will, think that something is wrong. Like, how come, and it wasn't that I wasn't successful in business, because I was really successful in what I did. And all of a sudden you choose something that is completely different, at least from the outside, it looks like a very different thing.
Right.
So it's the fear of, saying, well, actually, I'm not that anymore, I'm that.
Yes.
But I can still use all the skills that I've got and everything as part of that. But the first thing that comes to mind, it's as if I'm going to throw away everything that I gathered during this year. But that's incorrect. But that's the fear that was there.
Well, okay, so there's a couple things. One is, what will people think of me? What was your concern? What did you think they might think of you? That you're flaky, or that you're what was the concern? What
That they will maybe not appreciate me as much as they did before,
okay.
because
You might,
it's looking at me as, well, something is wrong with you if you cannot do that. But it's not that I can't, but that's sort of the thought.
so they might judge you and hold you with less esteem if you're not in a professional role, quote unquote
Yes.
role. We are professionals, but we're not, well, let me rephrase that. Many coaches are professionals, not all. But now that everyone and their dog is a coach, but many of us.
And that is exactly the point, that a lot of people think that, well, anyone can be a coach. What makes you a coach?
Yes.
Other than, learning all that sort of stuff. But what does a coach need, sort of thing.
Okay, so they might you might lose esteem because you're no longer in a professional role. They might think, oh, now you're just a coach, and kind of dismiss that. And also, I heard a bit of, can I do this? What makes me think I can do this? Or other people might say, what makes you think you can do that? Any other fears when you were making the leap?
Well, being, coming into business and having your own business, it's a big fear. And I'm not a person that is a salesperson by any means.
Mhm.
So to me, that was a big thing, because if you work on for yourself and you have your own business, you need to get clients.
Yeah.
And that was one of my biggest fear, more than anything else, that, when you work, that you have your income, you go to work, you get your money. When you have your own business, you may do what you love, but you don't know if you get the money.
Exactly. You have to learn how to do sales and marketing if you're going to be in business, period. Full stop. Doesn't matter if you like it, you have to get good at it, because
Exactly.
you won't be able to pay your bills. It's that simple.
Exactly. And
And
that was one of the biggest fears there. Yes.
that is where most people struggle, and especially a lot of women, because they're really told so many times in so many ways, still, don't promote yourself. Who do you think you are? Don't get too big on yourself. You should be seen and not heard. All of that kind of stuff about being in the background. And so that's a big hurdle to overcome. So what was it that shifted for you that allowed you to finally make the leap after 15 years?
Well, I actually was part of a program to learn, even though I was already a coach by that time, but when I left the job and I felt that I don't know what comes next for me, that took me some time. It was a searching my way of how to do that, because it is frightening. And I actually did a dream builder coaching um, certificate. And part of that, basically, I saw that it was decoding all the dreams that I actually did, but in a process that I can actually follow. And as a person that likes processes, that worked for me. And it was like, okay, if you have a dream, you just have to go for it.
Right.
Don't think about the how, think about what is it that you would really love,
Mhm.
and just do it. And I
Right.
decided to do it,
Okay.
took the steps and took that leap of faith
Okay.
and just did it.
Well, and I think I love the, well, but I want to talk about the just did it, because there's no such thing as just did it. Otherwise, people would just be doing it every day. There was something that shifted or that went on for you. So one of the things that you did was dealt with some of those fears. And how did you overcome that concern about approval? What was the thing that helped you get unhooked from that? The concern
So
about,
the first thing was, I started, rather than just jumping into my own business, I started by volunteering as a business coach.
Mhm.
I did that for a while, where I did not have to worry about getting clients. I just poured my knowledge and all that into them and saw the results. So first of all, I felt that, yes, I can do that. the
Okay.
actual part of coaching, because it is a new thing. So even though I have all the tools, I want to see the real proof in the world. And I did, and that was a proof for me.
Mhm.
But then it was like, as part of, the things that you're learning in this course, is that fear will always be there. But when fear is coming up for you, it's actually a great sign, because that means that you are expanding to what it is that you meant to be.
Mhm.
So to me, it was like, okay, I'm super afraid. I'm just going to do that. I put a post on Facebook.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how long ago it was. It was quite a long time ago. And I basically said, I'm going to be a coach. And not a lot of people, I kept actually, when I was studying all these things, the NLP and all this sort of stuff, I didn't necessarily share that with people that I did that. Again, it was sort of my thing. No one has to know about it. So for me, that was a massive step, just putting a post out there. And I was so afraid of what will come through that. And I was surprised to see all the many, many, many people just supporting me and saying, wow, that's amazing. And that was the biggest step that I took, that I was like, why was I waiting for so long?
Yeah, that's almost always the question after. Okay,
Yes.
so you did some practical things that had you put it out there, and I really your company probably didn't, but I really appreciate that you decided, nope, I'm not going to spend one more day doing something that I don't love, that doesn't serve me. And that is a great question. What if this is my last day? There's
Yes.
a whole series of, well, MIT, I think it's MIT, does something called The Last Lecture. And Randy Pausch did his called The Last Lecture. If you have not seen or heard it, everybody, I highly encourage you to make sure you've got some Kleenex handy. It is literally his last lecture. He was dying of some awful disease and was a father, etc. But it's a fascinating conversation. And the notion is, if this was the last thing you could leave the world, what would you say? What would you do? And I think that can be a really great frame of reference. And for you, it's, was very visceral because it was when your dad died. And so what if I'm like my dad and I die now? So when you said, what if this is my last day? The answer was clearly, I wouldn't be working here. Did you have any idea of what you would be doing at that point? Or
No, I just knew that I should not be there. And as I said, it took me a bit of a search, a process. It wasn't just, okay, I'm not here, and next thing I'm a coach. It's
okay.
sort of an internal search, but I knew that I sort of lost myself in that job and I had to find myself again. So I needed to do something that will connect me back to who I am, where I am really happy inside, because I'm a very positive person. And over there, I lost that.
So you were really clear on your no, but you didn't know what your yes was. So you went on your
Correct.
own eat, pray, love adventure and
Sort of, yes.
found your yes, found that, okay, coaching is probably the thing I want to step into. How far or how long or what was the journey from that decision to the time that you made the Facebook post?
Wow. Well, so the first thing was, I said, well, I lived in Darwin at that time. And I said, well, I don't belong here now. It doesn't feel right to be here. I don't know what I'm doing. And I always knew what I'm doing. So I said, well, travel is my happy place.
Okay.
I start with travel.
Okay.
Now, because I did not have too much money to, if I'm leaving my job and I don't know what my next job is, I decided that I'm going to rent my house out. With that money, I can travel, but to a cheap place. So I traveled to Peru. I had a friend that lived there, and I basically visited her for a while, traveled a little bit, tried to get myself back into that. And then the next step for me was going back to Israel, where my family is from,
Mhm.
because connecting to my family was a big part of, okay, maybe I need to go back home and live back again in Israel, even though at that point of time it was about 10 years after I left Israel.
Mhm.
And that was part of, the question, maybe I belong in here. And I actually did a facilitation course when I was there for about 3 months, which was amazing. And then I realized, no, I mean, I love Israel. I love my family. I love my friends over there, but that was not the place for me. I continued and basically went to Thailand for 3 months. I did some martial arts over there, Muay Thai, to get fit again. And then actually I got a phone call from a headhunter in New Zealand offering me a 1-year contract in New Zealand. And New Zealand was always like, oh, wow, that's an amazing place. But I've never been there at that point of time.
Okay.
So I said, yes, I'm going to go for this contract. I moved to New Zealand. I worked for a 1-year contract. It was in project management. And then I said, well, I know that I want to do what I really want to do is the coaching. I really know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, as I said, another that big fear of I'm not a salesperson. At that point, I said, well, I will continue to, I will take another contract of project management. And in the meanwhile, I will start volunteering, get clients, see that I can do that. So when I finished that year, I basically took another project, another contract. And during that time, I opened my own company and started taking people. So that was back in 2018.
Okay.
So I took some people. With every person that I coached, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So in a project management, you have satisfaction of I built something out of nothing, which is great. When you help a person and they look into your eyes and the light inside of them just, is out there all of a sudden, and they find their happy place and their business thrive. And that's a completely different way of satisfaction. So for me, that was, I know what I need to do. As soon as I'm going to finish that contract, this is what I'm going to do. And I don't care how, I will find a way.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a long process that it took me. But I got there.
I have notes. I've been taking notes furiously on the process. Okay, what you said, and this is brilliant in terms of all the steps that you took, because this really is a blueprint for how to make a transition. So first, you said no to what you didn't want. Then you said, where is my happy place? In other words, where are you going to be the most resourceful and have the most space to be able to examine what you do want? So you decided travel was your happy place. And the first place you went was to stay with a friend. So you went to a safe place to land. So you didn't throw yourself into a situation with all strangers and so forth. You gave yourself a bit of a cushion to explore and have what you wanted, but without making it super, super scary. And then you were connected to your roots. So you really got back to where you came from and what was important to you. And nope, you weren't living in the past. You got that clear. So what might be the future? And you tried things out. You experienced them. You didn't sit at home and meditate in a corner. You actually went various places and tried. Is this the country? Is this the place? Is this the kind of work? So you tried out facilitating and various things. So experience versus theory. And then you did something brilliant. You went to Thailand and started to really move your body. A lot of times moving our body moves our energy, and moving our energy moves our thoughts. So that was probably a really brilliant way to also create more clarity. And then you also said yes to opportunities when they came up. So you got a job offer. So you said, okay, yep, I'll try that. So lots of saying yes to things as they presented themselves. And then yes to coaching, but you made sure that you had a contract on the side so that you could make the transition without, again, throwing yourself into the deep end, and really check in and see, did you love it? So you funded your transition, you learned, you tested, you found out what fills your cup, what lights you up. And then you said a very important word, then I committed. And then you leaped, because I think it's really important for people to know those steps that go before the leap, because it isn't just a just, it's a this and then this and then this and then this, and that builds up
Absolutely
the ability to leap. So that's brilliant. Way to go on making that leap. What's been your favorite thing about it since you made the leap? Favorite thing about having your own business and doing the work you're doing?
I think working with people that previously I did not connect to them, I wouldn't necessarily think of connecting to a lot of these people in a much more meaningful way than I thought when I started that is going to be, because you get to really know the person from the inside completely, even though you're helping them with their business. You're helping them as a person as well with limiting beliefs and a lot of things. So for me, being able to be in that place that I'm actually completely supporting another person, that was, it is still the most amazing thing in what I'm doing at the moment. And of course, having my own time, and I set the timeline, of what do I do, when do I do that?
Yes, awesome. So tell us a little bit more about who you work with and how they can find out more about you.
Yes, so I basically work with people that went through similar process, not process, but similar journey to mine, that were in the corporate world and are looking to make that leap, knowing that this leap is not an easy thing to do. And they want someone to support them, either in their business that they already opened. Maybe it was in the first few years that they actually opened the business already, and they're still struggling in this first place of how to work there, or people that are thinking about it and are not sure about it and want the support even to go through the ideas and to see what's possible for them. Now, I really believe that it's people that are the people that I'm working with are people that can make a decision, because this is at the base of everything, and commit. Like you said, that was the point, that when you actually commit to the decision,
Yes.
that's when you can start making your dream come true.
Yes, that's a great line. When you commit to the decision, that's when you can start making your dream come true. I think if you take nothing away than that, everybody, that will help you be successful, because often what I find is the only piece missing is complete commitment, right? They may not have all the skills yet. They may not have all the answers yet. They may not know exactly everything. But if there's commitment, then you can work with that. Then you can actually move.
Absolutely.
So what's a good way to get in touch with you? What's your website or your email, or whatever the best way to get in
Yeah.
touch with is?
So the website is successengineering.co.nz. You have actually here in the photo, like you can scan that with your phone and you can see that. And you can get through me through the website. You have over there all the contact details. You have the phone, you have an email, you have even a link if you just want to set up an appointment with me straight away. You have all that on the website.
Okay, so that's successengineering.co as in co.nz as in New Zealand. All right. And so tell us about the gift that you have for the listeners.
Well, I have, as I said, for me, that coaching, Dream Builder coaching, gave me quite a lot of ideas, and I was doing training, and I'm sharing some of this training. So it's a training that normally costs $149, and I'm giving it free for everyone that wants to see that and go through this training.
Awesome.
And part of that is also, if you see the training and you feel connected, you get a free consultation with me, a strategy session that comes along with that.
Good.
And there is also, I also believe that, it's not just making the decision and jump. I mean, that's the first thing. But once you have the commitment, you also have to start putting goals and actions, because actions is what counts. So there is an additional present there that people can have, just a very simple 90 days planner. So you can focus on what your goal is, have an inspiration quote for the week, and the tasks that you put for yourself for the next 90 days.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vered. I really appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are thinking that perhaps, maybe soon, someday, it is your turn to be, do, and have what you want, then yes, it is time to make the leap. And while really it comes down to saying yes instead of no, yes instead of all those excuses, there is a process that we went through that can help you really take those steps a little more gently, a little more compassionately, a little more securely. But ultimately, it really is about shifting from the no's to the yeses. So thank you for being here. And those of you who are looking to make a leap, please go ahead and join the Facebook group, the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood. Feel free to ask questions about other people's leap or any of the questions that you're looking for answers to, and reach out to Vered at her successengineering.co.nz. Book a call with her whenever you get an opportunity to have a consultation with someone. Yes, in all likelihood, they are probably going to want to sell you because that's why they're in business. And you're still going to get great tips, hints, and ideas from people. And they might be the person that you need to support you in taking that next step with confidence. So don't be shy, be greedy for support. Thank you so much for being here, Vered. What's one last thing you'd like to leave everyone with?
So first of all, thank you so much, Annette. That has been a pleasure. And the thing that I want to leave everyone is give yourself permission to dream big and go for your dreams. Take that big decision. It's worth it.
Thank you. Yes, it is. So we'll see you in the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood Facebook group and perhaps at some event networking where you're telling us about your big new dream that you're taking your leap on. Have a wonderful and bodacious week, everybody. Bye for now.